And in the awareness that peace is found within, we turn our attention inward as we follow our breath. Breathing in, we accept. Breathing out, we let go. Breathing in, receiving, and breathing out, releasing. Calm in the storm. Reflect now on any place within your body, in your mind, or in your spirit where there might be upset. And turning your attention to whatever that tension is, whatever that upset might be. We remember that peace can be established in all things. Breathing in, love. And breathing out, joy. We ask the spirit within us, we ask our soul, what is my purpose for today? How can I be used? And in the silence, we rest and listen for the response. We remember that we are made of God's stuff and inherently good. And sometimes that good needs to be magnified by the Christ consciousness found within us that sometimes we fall asleep to. I believe that each and every one of us are needed together to reflect the light that is in this sanctuary, in this community, in this country, and in the world. We choose to amp it up. And in the awareness of amping it up and knowing we are made of God, we say thank you, thank you, thank you for this experience of coming together. Amen. Oh my goodness. They brought their A game. Yes. And so did all of you. As I was driving in this morning, I noticed how friendly the drivers in Madison are. They honked and honked, and they waved this funny hand thing at me. And I thought, oh, they just want me to feel at home while I'm kind of scared driving in this weather. They don't do the speed limits much, do they? So, yeah, I got to coach myself each mile of the way, knowing that I was on my way here, and I'm having so much fun being with all of you. You're an amazing community. Never forget that. Those who aren't here, you missed something great, but we're waiting for you next week. Those of you online, keep watching. There's exciting things happening in this community. I've had gone through 2 new members classes, and from the wonderful experience of getting to know people who wanted to join this community, I deepened my understanding of the message of unity and the purpose of spiritual communities. So, well done. I tell everybody this is a community that's growing itself. I just get to co-create with it. So remember that. You are co-creators with a power that is amazing, that is, as you act through love and amping up your spiritual awareness, you will draw to you somebody that is really magnificent. I wanted to share with you a couple of things this morning. I'm going to talk about the power of will. Do you guys remember what this is? I didn't want you to think I'd forgotten. But that spiritual power of will is so important for us to remember that we can use it. Most of the time, we're on automatic pilot, right? Some of you might not know. How many of you remember Fillmore's 12 powers? Okay, we're going to learn a hipper way of what those powers do, and that team that's inside of you, how you can coach it forward to jumpstart transformation. Because remember, we started with the whole idea you have to be the qualities that you're looking for in the new minister. Well, okay, oh gosh, you mean I don't just get to judge whether the person is demonstrating the quality I want? No, you don't. So listen to this quote of Charles Fillmore's. Unity is a link in the great educational movement inaugurated by Jesus Christ. It's a link in the great educational movement inaugurated by Jesus Christ. And Christ wasn't his last name, we're all Christed. When we wake up to that fact that we can be more than what's going on around us. Our objective is to discern the truth in Christianity and to prove it. Game on. Yeah, this sounds good. The truth we teach is not new, nor do we claim special revelations or discovery of new religious principles. Our purpose is to help and teach mankind to use and prove the eternal truth taught by many masters. Many masters. And listen to what this quote of Myrtle's that I found. She was the most compassionate, loving healer that really had the awareness of the relationship needed to transform, to heal, to change what was going on in your life. And here's what she said. You don't need to have a problem. You don't have a problem except the one that's in your own mind. And you put it there. Sounds a little harsh, doesn't it? And she wasn't a harsh woman. I'm fairly directive. I don't think of myself as harsh, but together we can see what stinking thinking is doing for us and perhaps access one of our core spiritual team members to help us lift our awareness of whatever situation we're in. So Jesus, after he did the Sermon on the Mount, here's where I'm opening the Bible. You watching? He came down from the mountain where he did his teaching. And when he came down, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thy will, can you make me clean? And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will. I'm willing to hold you, to touch you, to know that inside of you is wholeness and perfection. And the leper was healed. Don't you think that that is a healing lesson we all could use going forward into our day, into the people we meet, into the circumstances we hear about? Sometimes I hear such hard stories from people of childhood abuse. And it can tend to stay with me a bit. And what brings me back to center is the awareness that God is everywhere present, that in any situation with children, it's very hard to see them go through something that can affect the rest of their life. But we have to know we're souls on a journey, right? So who knows what's right and perfect for which soul? So for me, I go back to, okay, even though that was a horrible story, I mean, Friday, I'd never heard that much abuse in one family before. I just was taken aback. And I said to myself, nevertheless, I am willing to prove principles work, and they work for everyone. So in the midst of this nightmare, there's something good moving through it. There's something, it touches me deeply. I was triggered by some of it, so I know there's something for me to do to help in serving this family. Do I know how to do it right now? Not really. I know prayer and meditation, but sometimes in nightmares, you need God in physical form. You need to touch God with skin on. You need to show people that their story did not horrify you. That I know that there's a way through by believing there's a power greater than us at work in this. I have the faith, help thou my unbelief. You ever pulled that one? Well, I just don't have that kind of faith. Yes, we all have that kind of faith that we can know with unshakable certainty that God is a power, a force, an energy we can all use to transform whatever situation we're in, whatever we're facing. Notice I'm not sitting on a chair with my cane. But through my time here with y'all, I'm finding wonderful modalities of healing. Just wonderful connections are being made. And I keep coming back to the fact that you all show up for each other in love, willing to inspire, willing to teach, and willing to prove that principles work. So let's go back to my statement. Nevertheless, I am willing. Will is one of our spiritual attributes that we all have within us. We might not be using it appropriately, but we have it within us. You can choose to to use will in a way that you force something that you want to happen. And how does that work? It's hard. It's really hard. Man, I don't know how many times I bumped my head against a brick wall before I thought, wow, there's got to be an easier way than this. You know, don't keep doing the same thing. Don't keep pushing yourself. Allow Spirit to work in me and through me and as me. So I, Carla, the ego Carla, the personality Carla, doesn't have to know how to do everything. But you know, she thought she did for a long time. You know, I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders because, boy, I wanted to make sure everybody felt heard and loved. Well, I have to remember me in the equation, too. I got to listen to me, and I have to be able to love me, too, in this process. And when I don't love me, it can get, really kind of funky. So willingness is a power that runs through the very DNA of our body. We're given free will by God, by the source of all things, by the possibility of greatness. We are given that power in our DNA. The most powerful words you can say is, I am willing. That calls for an action to be taken. So the power of will is our chooser power. We choose either our self-will or a higher will for the good of all to amplify in our life experience. So if we're just forcing something through, there's not a whole lot of joy with that, is there? Or love? We can get worn out pretty easily. So knowing that the words, I am willing, stops the mind chatter, allows you to begin to see what emotion is going through your body. And the secret to emotions are, watch them, acknowledge them, and they'll go away. If we don't create the story, the magnificent mile of story that we all have, including me, if we don't create a story to go with the emotion, then it passes through the body. It's the story that locks the emotion into our body. And we can deny the story as many times as we want, but that is locked in our body. And so our work is to allow that to come forward, not just for ourselves, but allow it to come forward for others. This does not mean that you go around healing everybody else's wounds. Hear me on that. Our work is our own wounds. The power of prayer, we'll get more into the power of prayer when I come back the end of March, but the way prayer works is it lifts us up, the prayer. It's not to change an outer circumstance in somebody else. It's to change your vision of what's going on. Do you get it? It's a real subtle shift. So we'll do more exploring with that later on. I wanted to crank out the Bible because I'm going to be with you through the Easter season. And Easter is the master story of transformation. It is a journey we will take together that allows us to truly see what our magnificent purpose is before we start interviewing, or you start interviewing, ministerial candidates. But no, I'm with you forever now. You can't get rid of me. I just love this community so much that I want to be a part of the choice. I choose to be part of. When you choose to be a part of, to co-create, to collaborate, it's amazing what can happen. So if that wasn't your experience in the past, Do you want it to be your experience now? Do ya? No? Why would you say no? Mm-hmm. Got you. I wasn't listening to myself. You were listening to me, which always works. I was not listening. Take my advice, I'm not using it, you know. The best Kelly is a line. So we want to be in a creative field. That's why this community is growing itself. You've got stuff going on 7 days a week. It exhausts me just to read the newsletter. But you know, the coolest thing of all is I have seen a church running effectively without the minister having to do it all. You know, sometimes a minister's no is because they need some self-care. But what's been going on here is tons of healing modalities, of people working on their stuff together. You know, it's an opportunity to connect in many different ways, because Sunday morning just can't be it, can it? We don't live in a world where Sunday morning is mandatory church appearance anymore. In fact, a lot of people would rather do anything else but go to church on Sunday. But you all braved the weather and came here. Why? What was your why? I know part of it's the music. I mean, did you listen to the words? You know, I always love it when that gets proven to me. I don't have to tell Pete or the music team what to sing or how it will fit in my service and what I'm going to say. I just trust. Because when you've got magnificent musicians, you don't want to mess with them. Hands off the music team. That's what I would recommend to anybody coming to interview. These are your best friends right here. Because they open our hearts. They touch our souls. And we're collaborating, creating an experience together. It's not one person. It's not my talk that makes you want to come here. Although I'd love to think it was, you know. But I do love coming here, and I do love co-creating with you all because you seem alive. Can you feel that? There is an aliveness in this community that is pretty impressive. Even though we have diminished numbers today, you guys are pretty loud. You sang beautifully, you laugh loud. It was, you know, you made up for anybody who was missing. And that's what we want. We want an alive community. So we've got our annual meeting next week. Please, please, please come. The community is what makes up the success of this ministry. You are important. We're going to vote for new board members. Are all the candidates here? Dwight's here. Carol's here. Steve's here. Kay isn't. Well, we know her heart's here, so that's the best part. So we want to support this board as it moves forward. Your past board gave it all. I mean, you guys really, an incredible, awesome job. I love looking out and seeing a smile on Laura's face. One more thing. But that was a tremendous job she undertook. So please appreciate her and know that she did it because of her love for this community. And Joy and Lynn and other board members, Ron, Helen, Elaine, back there, yes. I need coaching. Gene's not here today, right? Don had his knee surgery. He had it, so I don't have to. And Ron, what you do with the finances here, this is an incredibly financially secure community. And it takes minute concentration on stuff that makes my eyes roll back in my head. But I love Ron. And I'm so grateful that's his gift to give. Because we need somebody like a Ron to be the treasurer. We need somebody that looking at trends, which way are we going? Are we going in the right way? We need people who are committed to making sure this place works. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of you, thank you. Yes, I did. Yes. No, that's okay. I always need support with that. But I do want this community to realize how extraordinary your board has been and the amount of work they've done. Barry, you've helped us enormously with Brag, Worry, Wonder, Bet. I did it! Yes! So you guys, when you leave today, if you haven't looked at the results from Brag, Worry, Wonder, Bet, take it home. We're trying to get you to uncover what your purpose is here in this community. Because when you uncover your purpose, your candidates have clarity. And you want them to have clarity. Got it? So, I am really going to stop now, but I want you to remember that I am willing to move past whatever the uncertainty is, whatever the pain point might be. We all have to move through the discomfort. And Unity folks don't like discomfort. We like to be unicorns. But the truth of the matter is we're all healers. And so we want to create this space where people can be present to the pain, the suffering, the sadness, the sorrow. I went to a memorial service a couple of months ago, and it's the first time in my billions of years of being in Unity that I heard a minister allow the people to grieve. And I thought, yeah, you can't flip a switch. You can't. And when you're grieving, it's so nice to have other people willing to be with you in your pain. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to heal them. You don't have to come up with a vision for them. You don't have to come up with an affirmation. You don't have to do anything but just love them and acknowledge the pain of it. So, love lavishly. Laugh loudly. Treat everybody with dignity and respect. And game on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Reverend Carla.